Hi everyone, it's Dawn. Today's video, I'm going to show you how to texture your bottles. Now, I am by no means an expert at this. I just learned this myself and I've been doing it for a short time, but I'm pretty confident in what I'm doing, so that's why I'm going to share it with you. But again, this is what I'm doing. This is the way I do it. And like I said, I'm no expert. I could be doing it right, could be doing it wrong, but whatever it is working for me. So I'm going to share it with you guys. Happy Hooker. I'm also a crocheter, so if you're wondering why that says Happy Hooker on my apron, I'm also a crocheter. But anyway, okay, so there's a few different ways that you can texture your bottles. There's a few different products that you can use. I'm going to show you the few different techniques. I'm going to show you everything that you're going to need, and then you just go ahead and do what works for you. A lot of this has a lot of drying time, so I did some things ahead. I'm going to do some partial stuff, so I hope that you get the gist of it, and I'm going to explain and show you as good as I can. So first thing you're going to need is you're going to need a bottle. Now you can use this texture on anything. I'm into doing bottles now. I absolutely love them. I love the texture. I'm doing a lot of patriotic bottles, and the texture just makes them look really, really cool, very aged. But you can do this on anything. You can put texture on anything. So I'm gonna show you how to prep your bottles and you know, what to do to put the texture on your bottle. And again, as I said, this is the way I'm doing it. I have watched people on YouTube. There's a few people I follow, and this is where I'm learning everything. So let me go over everything with you. So first of all, you're going to need a bottle, and there's several different bottles you can use. I use a bunch of different kinds. So I use these 12-ounce syrup bottles. I purchased these from Amazon. They're not that expensive. I think I got 12 of them, maybe for 20 bucks or something, I don't know. But they're 12 ounces. You can use those. I also purchased these from Amazon. I think they're called flask bottles. These are a great size. I take this piece off. It's like a pressurized cap. I take this off and use just a regular topper. You'll have a hole there, but if you decorate and tie ribbon around it, you won't see it. But this is another type of bottle. And then I use crown bottles. These are also great bottles to use, and also wine bottles. And these are 750 milliliters. You can get these from Amazon also. So it's wine bottles, the flask bottles, the syrup bottles you can get from Amazon, Etsy. You can find all kinds of bottles on Etsy. The crown bottles I'm getting from a local bar. I've got some hookups with some bartenders, friends. Now also, I wanted to show you this. I picked up this bottle from Hobby Lobby, and I've made a few with this bottle. They were on sale. Now it's got this writing on here. The writing doesn't come off, but what you do with your bottle to prep it, you can go right over this, put the image right over it, and no problem at all. So if you pick up bottles that have, you know, words on it that you can't take a label off, then yeah, just pick it up because you can go over it. And then of course, I recently got a hold of a couple of these bottles. These are bullet bourbon bottles. Now this is a 1.75 liter bottle. I did not realize how huge this bottle was. I mean, I use the wine bottles are 750 milliliters. This 1.75 liter has like, I think 1,700 or 1,500 milliliters. So you can, you know, just imagine how much bigger that it is. It's a monstrosity of a bottle. But I'm gonna order a couple more. I really like these. I got them off of somebody on Etsy. So you have a bottle like this. Now, some of your bottles you'll get caps with. and some you won't. Like the ones you buy from Amazon, you won't get caps, tops for them. But there's a solution for that, and I'll tell you as we're going through all this stuff. So that's what you're going to need as far as bottles go, but you can use any bottles that you want. Okay, so as far as supplies goes, what you're going to need is you're going to need some soft bristly brushes, maybe some water. You're going to need, let's see, some sponges or pouncers, daubers. You're going to need some alcohol. You're going to need some varnish. This is by Bluebird. Got this off of Amazon. You're going to need some Mod Podge. You're going to need some gesso. This is a primer. You don't have to use this. This is made by Liquitex. There's a lot of gesso products out there. You can just use chalk paint if you want, but I started using the gesso a while ago instead of the white chalk paint, and I really like it a lot. But I got this off of Amazon. You're going to need some modeling paste. This is by Nick Pro, but there's many brands. Somebody that I follow uses this, and I just decided to go with what she uses because it works for her. I got this off of Amazon. It's just modeling paste, so you can get that anywhere. You're going to need a palette knife. Actually, to do the texture, you've got these plastic palette knives. I like to use this one, the flatter one, but you can use, you can use anything. That's to apply the texture. You can use anything that you want, but you can get a pack of them, either off of Amazon, at the dollar store. You're gonna need some tops. So this is what I was talking about. You can get these from Amazon. They're just like kind of hard plastic corks that fit in the bottles. Some of the bottles, it's a little tight, but you can just shove them in there. They work. And then, on the little syrup bottles, they're a little big. So what I do is I just take some E6000 and put it around the top and press it down, make sure it adheres. Now, you don't have to make your tops where they don't come off. I like them where they don't come off. If you want them to be removed, you don't have to glue them down. But when I do the process of what I have to do to prep my bottle, I do it with the, I treat the cap too. But I like my bottles to have caps. So you can, buy a bunch of these. I forget how many were in a pack. Again, I got these off of Amazon. And you're going to need some E6000 glue, or whatever your preference of glue is. I find that this holds a lot of everything. There's an E7000 too that you can use, but this is what I use. I've got some paper towels. I have this other product that also you can do texture with. I'll explain that to you. But that's pretty much what you need for your products. I think I covered that all. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you how to prep your bottle for decoupaging and texturing and painting. So when you get your bottle, a lot of times, like these bottles don't come with labels, but if you get bottles with labels on them, just go online. There's a bunch of ways that you can remove the label. You can soak them in hot water or just any kind of water for a couple days, and then they come right off. You could fill it with hot water and take like a little scrubber and get it scrubbed off. My husband usually takes them off for me, and he just uses some alcohol with a scraper, and he takes them off for me. But the ones you get from Amazon are not going to have any labels on them. But your first thing, what you do is you take your bottle, your clean bottle, and you're going to take some alcohol, paper towel, and you're going to wipe your bottle down. Make sure it's free of any oils and clean. Okay, so that's what you're gonna do with that. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is, this is kind of, I guess, something that's 50-50, but we're going to first coat our bottle with Mod Podge. Mod Podge is supposed to help the paint adhere to the bottle, the glass bottle. It's supposed to, you know, when you paint your bottle, if it's coated with Mod Podge, it's not supposed to be able to scrape off. I've been doing it and I've been having luck, but there's been times I have nicked my bottle while I was working on it, and even with the Mod Podge, it has nicked. But for the most part, I'm just following that process and I haven't had any problems. But you can go ahead and just paint it if you want, you know, if that works for you. But I'm going with the process of Mod Podging first. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your Mod Podge. Now, you can brush this on, but what I like to do best is pounce it on with a sponge. There's no brush strokes, and it gives it a little bit of texture, but it's going to get covered up. So if you're concerned about that, don't even worry about it. I think the pouncer covers more space in a quicker time. So I like to go ahead and use one of these sponge pouncers. Now what I do is I use a bigger one to do the Mod Podge. You know, there's all different sizes, but I use the bigger one. So I also have a little tip here that I used to use these and then throw them right out. They were disposable. I didn't know that you can rinse them, you can wash them. I mean, I didn't know any of that. But what I found is that I have one here for the Mod Podge, and what I do is after I'm done, I don't rinse it, I don't wash it. I just wrap it in some plastic wrap, some saran wrap, and you can keep using it. I mean, eventually you probably have to throw it away and use a new one, but after you're done with it, you don't have to rinse it, wash it. I just wrap it in plastic wrap, twist it so the air doesn't get to it, and then I've been using this particular one for weeks now without having, I was going through them like crazy because I kept throwing them away after I was using them. So that's just a little tip there. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your Mod Podge, and the idea is we're going to coat this bottle with a coat of Mod Podge. Now what I do is I usually stick my finger in the hole to hold it. I mean, it's a little difficult, you might have to go back. We're also going to do the bottom. So I'm going to dip my pouncer in the Mod Podge, and all you're going to do is pounce on it and coat the bottle with the Mod Podge. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be even. You know, the idea is to just get a coat of it on. Okay, you know, get in all the nooks and crannies, and again, it does not have to be perfect. If you miss some spots, you miss some spots, not a big deal. Okay, but now see all that? When it dries, it's not going to matter because we're going to do another thing to it. But if you're looking for texture on your bottle, it doesn't matter anyway. But I've done this even without texture and it doesn't come through on the paint. So don't worry about it. I just think it's a lot easier than brushing it on. If you are more comfortable using a brush, or if that's your method of doing it, then go right ahead. You know, there's no right or wrong, but this is the way I do it. Okay, so I go around, oops, piece of paper. I do the bottom. Now, of course, I've got to sit this down to dry, and it'll probably affect the bottom, but it's okay. All right, so you're just going to go all around, and you're just going to pounce that Mod Podge all over. Just give it a good coat, okay? I picked the smaller bottle to do because it's a lot faster. There's not that much glass to have to cover. All right, and then what I do is, so a lot of times what I do is I put my cap on, and then I go ahead and Mod Podge it. But what was happening was I had no place to hold the bottle. So what I've been doing is I've just been after I do this and after it's painted, I mean, I just go ahead and glue it on and, you know, paint it and Mod Podge it, and you have to treat it the way you treat the rest of the bottle. It's got to be Mod Podged and primed, and then you paint it, but you do whatever works for you. Okay, so there we go. You coat the whole bottle with Mod Podge. All right, like I said, you don't have to get every spot. So now what you're gonna do is you're gonna put this off to the side and you're gonna let it dry. And it's going to need at least a couple of hours. If you do it too soon, you're gonna wind up with cracks when you go to put your paint and stuff on. I've had that happen to me. What I usually do is I usually prepare a few bottles and leave them overnight. But you can do 2-3 hours and then you can go back to working on it. Okay, so we're gonna set this aside. We're done with that. So that is drying. So after it dries, a couple of hours or so, this is what it's gonna look like, okay? Now see, it's not even, it's just all, but that's okay, all right? So this is what you're gonna get after your Mod Podge dries. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go in with our gesso, which is our primer. Now, there's many different brands of this. You don't have to use this particular one, and you don't even have to use primer. You can just go ahead in with some white chalk paint. But like I said, I used to do that, but I like this stuff. And you know, everybody has a difference in opinion. Some people don't like it. Some people just go ahead with the chalk paint. But I'm choosing to use a primer first. So what you're gonna do with that is, let's see. Okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your gesso. Now you can squirt it right on the bottle. I'm just gonna put it here like this. Out of my way. And then what I'm gonna do is take my pouncer that I use for my gesso, and I'm gonna apply this the same way as I applied the Mod Podge, okay? I'm just gonna go in now, and I'm just gonna pounce all over the bottle. And again, there's no right or wrong way to do this. Just get it on there. We're just priming the bottle to take the paint a lot better. You're gonna do the bottom, and you're just gonna go over the whole bottle. Now again, this is after the Mod Podge has dried for 2 or 3 hours. Like I said, I go overnight. I always have enough stuff prepared that keeps me busy enough that I don't, you know, I'm pretty impatient. I don't like to wait for things to dry, but you really have to. I mean, the best results is to wait for stuff to dry. But that's why I do some things ahead of time. Sometimes I'll just prepare my bottles and then I just grab them when I need them. So you're just gonna go all around the bottle, just like you did with the Mod Podge, and just pounce the primer all over the bottle, any way that you can get it on. Does not have to be perfect. You know, you want to be as neat as you can, but it doesn't have to be perfect. You get every, you know, you want to get the neck of the bottle. Now this has this little handle. I mean, I try to squeeze it in there and get, there we go, I got it. Okay, and then you're just going to coat the whole thing. Okay, so there you go. And even see how it's not even here? It doesn't matter, it's fine. Just get it on, just coat your bottle as good as you can. Okay, now we're gonna set this to the side and we're gonna let that dry. And that's gonna need, you know, probably a few hours or so to dry. Like I said, I usually leave it dry overnight, but you know, at least give it 2 or 3 hours. You maybe prepare it in the morning and work on it later in the afternoon. And now I'm just gonna take my spongy things and just wrap them in plastic wrap and set them to the side, and I can use them again, you know, at a later time. Let me get this out of the way. So now, after you let, after you let that dry, what you're gonna do is you're gonna get something that looks like this, Okay, this is gessoed, it's Mod Podge gessoed, and it's completely dry. Okay, so now, before you do the texture, you want to get your image on there. So, what you're going to need is you're going to need your Mod Podge. Where's my Mod Podge? Here it is. And you're going to apply the image just like you would when you do any decoupage project. Okay? But this has to be completely dry. Just make sure it's completely dry. All right. Now, this is the image I choose to use. This is one of Penny's images. It is in the albums. I think it's in the Halloween albums. It's called Creepy Carnival. I love these images. So we have learned in decoupage that you rip your images, and that's an easy way to blend them. But when I do the bottles, I've been cutting my images, again, learning from someone else. And when you work with the paint and, learning to blend, it doesn't matter if it's torn or cut straight. You can get it to blend, and that's a whole nother thing. I can't even show you guys that because I'm really just learning about that. But anyway, I've already got my image. And so I'm going to choose to put it on my bottle this way. Okay, where I'm going to center it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my soft brushes, and I'm going to take a lot of Mod Podge. You want your image to be able to move around so that you can get it in the right place. So you're going to slather this Mod Podge. Now, if you're using napkins, you cannot because you can use napkins for this. I choose to use rice paper. You can't do this with a napkin. Your napkin will tear. Okay, so after you get your Mod Podge on there, well, actually I'm going to turn it around so I can see what I'm doing. You're going to get your image on there. Well, what you're going to do is if you have a bottle that's kind of, some bottles are flat, square. If you've got any that are curved, if you take a little bit of water and squirt your image, it'll help these corners that they don't peel. And also too, when you cut your image, you should round your corners. It's less likely that it'll peel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find where. Now be careful, because anything you have on your fingers is going to come off on your image, and you don't want that. And I'm going to show you how to prevent that. This looks about right to me. So now I'm just going to flatten my image down. No wrinkles. You can use some plastic wrap if you want to get it down. Okay, and then after you get your image where you want it, you're going to go back with your soft bristled brush, and you're going to go over the image. Okay, and as you're going over the image, you're going to press down to make sure that you got all the air bubbles out. And you're going to press pretty hard, and just go one direction. Okay, now after you do that, you've got a few minutes here. Now you see the way this bottle has like these little grooves. Well, you want to make sure that that paper is down in those grooves. So now, see, I wiped off some of the paint there. So, but just be mindful of what you're doing. Just make sure you don't feel any air bubbles. You get the image down correctly. And that's the next step. Now you're going to let that sit and dry. That doesn't take very long to dry. You let it sit and dry for a few minutes, and then what we're going to do is, before we go on to anything else, we're going to put varnish over the top of the image. And the varnish is going to help with when you go to paint your bottle. If you get anything on the image, as long as it's got a sealer or some kind of varnish on it, you'll be able to wipe it off. If I mean, the Mod Podge might be enough, I'm not sure, but I always use the varnish after my Mod Podge dries. And if you get anything on the image, if it's long as it's varnished, you can wipe it right off. Sometimes, I mean, I get paint on my image and then there's no way to get it off. So just better to be safe than sorry. So for the sake of the video, I'm just going to keep moving because this isn't dry yet. But when this completely dries, which again, it doesn't take very long, I will go in and varnish it. Okay, so now I'm going to be real careful because I'm not going to wait. Well, actually, maybe I can show you something else. Let it dry a little bit longer. So there's a few different kinds of texture that you can do. You can get a texture that looks kind of like this. Can you see it? It's just kind of smooth, overlapping, kind of, you know, just a smoother, but textured, but smoother. Then I've got texture like this. This is very stucco-y looking. I'll show you how this is a different product that you use to get that. And it's kind of really stony looking. And then you get texture like this. And I'm going to show you how you can get all three looks. Okay, you can see the difference in the texture. Okay, so now there's three different ways. There's probably more ways, but three different ways that I know of that you can get texture. One is that you can take baking soda and mix it in your chalk paint or your gesso. You can just mix it until you get a paste. If you look online, you can get like a ratio to ratio, but if I use that method, actually this is what it will look like if you use the baking soda. It's a very fine kind of texture. I don't even know if you can see it. It's a little flatter. It's not really raised because the baking soda, after you put it on, it tends to just flatten a little bit, which is fine. It's you know, it's a nice texture. It works well. So you would mix baking soda in your chalk paint, in your colored paint, or in your primer, and then you can just dab it on with a sponge dauber. So you can use that. That's the most inexpensive because everybody probably has baking soda in their kitchen. Then there's another product out there. It's called Snowtex. Some of you that do shells might have used this. This is what I used on this bottle. It gave me like a stony stucco type texture. I don't use it that much. I like what I get from the modeling paste, but this is the consistency of the Snowtex. I was using it on my Christmas ornaments, my Decoupage Christmas ornaments to create snow. And you just put it all over. The way I'm going to show you how to put the texture on, you can do it with the baking soda, with this Snowtex. You can apply it the same exact way. So I got this off of Amazon. You can use this. But what I've been using and what I love using is this modeling paste. Okay. This is truly what it is. It's a paste. It's kind of fun. And this is what I use to do the texture on my bottles. So that's what we're going to use today. That's what I'm going to show you how to, what to use is the modeling paste. It's very easy to use. You get it on Amazon. But what I would do is put your image on first because to try and lay an image down over a textured area is pretty difficult. You can't get it flush. Okay, so actually, this is pretty dry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my different brush, nice and soft, the bristles move, and I'm going to take this varnish, and I'm just going to squirt a little bit. Okay, we're clogged again. Sorry about that. I'm going to squirt a little bit on my image, and then I'm just going to stroke it on with this soft bristly brush. It scared me at first because it's white and it's clear, but it was like looking blue, and I thought I was rubbing the paint off or something, you know, or the ink was coming off the picture, but it's not. It's just what, I guess maybe it's reflecting off the picture. Okay, so we're just going to do a thin coat and just get the whole image, brush strokes even in one direction. And then you're going to sit this off and let this dry. And again, it doesn't take very long to dry, but for the sake of the video, I'm going to keep moving. Okay, so now we've got our bottle Mod Podged. We have it primed. We have the image on it, Mod Podge over the image, and then varnish, let it dry, and varnish over the image. And all of these steps have dry times in between, and it is a must. Let everything dry completely, no matter how impatient you are. Okay, so now we're going to put some texture on this bottle, and I'm going to do it with the modeling paste. So what you're going to do, it's very simple. You're going to take however much you want on your spatula, whatever you're going to use to apply it, and you're just going to go, you're just going to go and you're just going to put it wherever you want it. Now you can get it where you're you know, making it that smooth texture, or you can go ahead and just pounce it out. Put some, you don't have to, you could put a little bit down here, you could put a little bit over here, you can make some swipes, you can take this and dab it, put a little swipe on the neck, I do the handle, you know, you could do as little or as much as you want, you know, you can just, you know, you just tap it on, slop it on, however you want. You don't have to get every spot. Okay, now I'm going to come around to the front. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come around the image, and I'm going to kind of get close to the image, and I'm just going to tap. If you don't get close enough to the image and your texture stops, it's going to, when you go to paint it, you're going to see where you didn't texture all the way to the image, and it's going to look like it's a whole separate thing. So what I would do is very carefully, and again, you have that varnish on there. I mean, mine's not really dry yet, and you can wipe it off, but I'm going to texture all around and see where I wipe that paint off. But I'm going to go around the image, put a little up here, or put a little bit over here. You know, you can kind of smooth it down the side. And let's see, I'm just going to turn it. I'm going to go right close to the image, and I'm just going to dab it. I'm not really concerned about getting every spot. You know, it doesn't, nothing, you don't want anything being symmetrical, nothing even, you know, you want it to just kind of be free-formed, whatever, wherever you want to put it. It doesn't have to be all even around. And let's do a little swipe there. Oh, see, now I don't have any here, so I can make a couple of little swipes. I can make a couple of little dabs. You know, and again, you don't have to have it everywhere on the bottle. Now you can also take one of your sponge daubers, and you can even go back now, and you can kind of make some more texture, and just do that. Do it up. See what it's doing? So you can create texture with anything. You can take a kitchen sponge and cut it up in small pieces and use that to make texture. But that's all you need to do. And again, you don't have to get every single spot. Now, don't do the bottom, don't do underneath. I like to do it around the neck. And especially with a small bottle like this, you can't really hang a lot off the neck, so the neck is going to show. But there you go. There's your texture. And again, there's some spots I don't have texture on. I don't need it on there. So now what you do here's the annoying part. I would let this dry for at least 12 hours, you know, overnight. Um, again, now this bottle will sit. I won't work on it till tomorrow. I usually have other bottles to work on. But yeah, so you let this, make sure this dries before you go ahead and paint it. And then you just paint it however you want. I will tell you though, when you have texture on a bottle and the more texture you have, the more paint it's going to take. So just be prepared for that. You know, it's more porous and it's gonna, you know, take the you know, suck up the paint even more. Yeah, so let this sit 24 hours if you can, but no less than 12 hours or so. Usually, like, I don't usually start working on my bottles till maybe noon, 1 o'clock. So this is done now. So by the time I work on it tomorrow, it should be pretty dry. It should be dry, not pretty dry. But if you can wait 24 hours, but no less than 12 hours, that's my suggestion, but you can do what you want. But yeah, so that's how you go about texturing your bottles. It's very easy, and you can use anything to texture with. But yeah, so I hope that I helped you today. I hope that I answered some questions. Before I go, just remember, check out Penny's Rice Papers. Go to the main Facebook page, scroll over to albums, click on that, and when you open that, there'll be a whole bunch of other albums that are categorized, different subjects. I'm sure you can find something that you like. Grab yourself some rice papers, and don't forget about her toppers. Her bottle toppers are phenomenal. They are great. They paint well. They look great, and she can pretty much customize and do anything you want. Just message her, and she'll get back with you in a reasonable amount of time. But yeah, so grab yourself some rice papers, some toppers, some empty bottles, and just create. So thanks for watching, and have a great day.